Parastatals under the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture defend their 2016 budget implementation before the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation. And a senator of the Federal Republic sheds more light on constituency projects. Welcome to Senate 109 Interactive this week. This is where we focus on the activities of the Senate of the Federal Republic. I am Segun Ojelade. Let's begin the program. Parastatals under the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture have commenced the defense of their 2016 budget implementation before the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation. When the committee members met with the management of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, the emphasis was on maximizing the potentials and the opportunities of the authority by increasing its internally generated revenue, IGR.
We are here mainly to carry out the exercise in compliance with the Constitution. Let me put it on record that this is the first time the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will be compliant with the requirements that all other agencies should bring their projects to the National Assembly for defense and also passing out as a bill. I commend Mr. President for this show of complying with the rule of there are four major agencies that are within our purview: the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, the News Agency of Nigeria, the Nigerian Television Authority, and Radio Nigeria. Four of the agencies that are referred to this Committee on Information and National Orientation. We had met earlier on and tried to sensitize each other on what needs to be done. So we expect that this meeting will be as brief as possible, believing that you have complied with whatever we asked you to do. Notwithstanding, the distinguished senators are at liberty to do very forensic scrutiny of whatever you have brought, and we hope that you oblige questions so that at the end of the day we'll come out with a clean exercise. We will deal strictly with what you have brought. There shall be no pardon by the grace of God.
With the downturn of Nigeria's economy, one can understand why the focus is on internally generated revenue, and senators are clear that with government resources stretched, agencies must block leakages and maximize their revenue-generating capacity. In some cases, full commercialization, they believe, is also a viable option. Standing in for the Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, the Executive Director of Finance and Administration, Philip Ofoegbu, along with the Chief Executives of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, the News Agency of Nigeria, and the National Broadcast Commission, presented figures to the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation and identified challenges to achieving higher levels of IGR.
For the News Agency of Nigeria, in 2013, our actual IGR was 86.8 million, and in 2014 it was 89 million, and it rose to 135 million in 2015. For 2016, we project to make 132 million. That's slightly lower than 2015. And as at August this year, we've made 82 million so far by August this year. You can see that we saw some reverses in by our projection in 2016, because our business also reflects the health, the state of being of the newspaper industry. Some of our TV and radio clients, some of them are facing some financial problems, so the agency also face problems. because they subscribe to our service, and some of them say they cannot pay for the service. So that affects what actually comes in. So that's what's happening today, yes, as of today. But we are making efforts to broaden our base in terms of revenue. When I came in, I realized that NAN was sitting on a lot of assets that we think we can unbind and turn into money making. We have offices in 36 states of the Federation, offices in many districts, and so many offices. Some of them we visited recently. We find that we have a lot of land. We want to find how we can commercialize all those things we have, the property we have.
The IGR that was projected for 2015, unfortunately I have only for 2015 here. What was projected for 2015 was 2 billion. What was realized was just 1 billion, just over 1 billion. And that was just about 50% realization. This year, we estimate that the IGR will be about 2.3 billion. That's our estimation. But given what happened last year, that we could only realize 50%. This year, it probably would be less than 50% because of the economic condition in the country. So that's what we have. And out of the IGR, again, for last year that was realized, the cash that was collected was just about 985 million. The rest of 111 million was credit. And we are still pursuing, those who are owing the corporation to pay that. So even what was realized, that the 1-point-something billion is not actually what came into the coffers of the corporation. As I said, I think the economic condition, I don't have to go into that. I think we are all aware. It has affected quite a lot the internally generated revenue for FRCN. We are struggling. We are trying to look for ways in order to improve it. I think one of the ways that we are looking at present to try to make sure that we reduce leakages is to introduce electronic collection of the revenue itself rather than cash, because we realize at the moment in so many of our stations, cash is being collected, and then sometimes you even have problem of people not issuing receipts.
I want you to explain to us what happened to, why were you able to only actualize 50% of the IGR last year? What do you think were the impediments?
At the moment, not many people, I have to be honest to you, trust what goes out on Radio Nigeria. And if people do not trust, the advertisers are not Father Christmases. They wouldn't go to where people are not there. And I think that is the main problem. So that is one of the problems that, why only 1 billion was realized instead of the 2 billion that was projected, because of lack of confidence, and advertisers do not go there.
You need stations that make money in Lagos and Japan. From the revenue you're generating and the way you're spending money, a lot of people do not have the privilege to have a job because you are charging too much money to have a radio or TV station outside the 3 centers. That's the point I'm making. You are the most expensive in Africa. People are suffering. They need jobs. And you are charging 15, 20 million. It doesn't make any economic sense. If you are remitting the money to the federation account, as FIRS, I could understand, but you are not. You are spending the money yourselves.
No, we remit 25% of all our
then your act, the act allows you to spend 75% of the money. So we are going to reverse it to make sure you spend only 5% of the money, because you are giving overhead and you are giving capital.
We used to have what he was talking about when we had a public broadcasting tradition. We lost it. So now FRCN and NTA, they're not really too sure whether they're public service broadcasters or commercial entities. And that is very important. The time of integrity that distinguished Senator Milai is talking about was a period when there was a more definitive understanding of the role of NBC, as it was then, the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation and FRCN. And I think for as long as we continue to make that mistake in terms of policy.
IGR for 2016.
5 billion.
Huh?
5 billion.
5 billion. Expenses.
Projection.
Expenses.
Expenses 3.79 billion.
3.79. The government pays the 6.2. You generate 5.2.
We generate 5.
I beg your pardon?
We generate 5.
I understand. The expenses are 3.7.
3.7.
But the government pays your salary.
It's going to pay us.
You get overhead.
We got overhead.
How much is the overhead for 2006? What are you asking for?
Well, what we are given already, we asked for what we are given is 251. That's what has been appropriated.
251 million or billion.
And for us, we want to do everything that will generate revenue outside oil. We see what is happening to the country right now. We are not only in recession now, we are swimming in it. So every parastatal of government, every MDA must tighten your belt, especially at revenue generation.
We're not saying that we're not working hard. NTA as an organization, definitely we don't joke with looking to expand the horizon of revenue generation. That's what we do. But then we want to be very realistic. The issue here is we have stations, because when we talk, it's not just network. We have stations all over the country, but then most of the equipment that we have there are not working. A good number of stations are down. Quite a number because the equipment, the transmitters are old.
Now, on the interview segment of the program this week, our guest is Senator Kabiru Marafa, representing Zamfara Central Senatorial District. He speaks on government's efforts at fighting insurgency, especially the support of President Muhammadu Buhari, and of course, the ranging controversies over constituency projects and other issues.
We lost staggering number of people, over the last 5 years. I can tell you, even though I don't have the statistics, but we lost maybe almost over 5,000 people, as a result of this menace caused by this Numa and Kio Haram, because that is literally what the whole incident is turning out to be. So, Mr. President appreciated this phenomenon and gave it, the prominence it deserved, brought it to the front burner by sparing, time out his very tight, busy schedules, and going to Zamfara and to do it by himself, so as to underscore the importance of the journey. Then secondly, our soldiers, and other military security agencies, have been on the ground doing the little, they've been doing, before the massive gang up, of the security agencies to fight the incidents. His visit also, helped in boosting the morale, of the troops, especially when Mr. President visited them right inside, the bush, yes, the theater itself, and spending a lot of time. Mr. President was there up to around 6 p.m. Just to show to the troops, kind of appreciation, because while other Nigerians were busy, enjoying their peace and with their families and loved ones, the troops are in the bush, trying to defend the people. So honestly speaking, like I said, me as the senator representing that zone, it was a dream come true, and I wish our military men in the bush, quite a successful stay and success, in overcoming this menace. And to the people that are unleashing this mayhem, to the people, I have reasons to call on to them that dialogue is the best answer to anything. If there is any problem they have, they should come forward and say it. But killing innocent citizens will not take anybody anywhere, and it cannot yield any any result, definitely. You see, again, I will take you back to what I said earlier. You know, there is gross ignorance in a lot of things we do in Nigeria, and that is what is partly responsible for a lot of our woes and a lot of the problems you are seeing. What is essentially a constituency project? To me, the whole budget is constituency project. It depends on how you look at it. Now, if you look at Mr. President, the whole country is his constituency. So when he proposes a budget and everything and brings it to the National Assembly, now if you look at the 109 senators and 365 members of House of Representatives, now their whole constituency is Nigeria. So when you make that budget, pass it, and hand it over to Mr. President, you are talking about constituency project, because he is going to implement things for the people of Nigeria. Now, let us come back to our own constituency project. You know, why you hear a lot of people are opposing it and saying all the things they are saying is because a lot of people thought that this constituency project they are talking about is money is given to legislators to go and execute programs or projects in their constituencies. It's not like that at all. And that is what is responsible for all this thing. So to me, I don't even see the need for all the troubles about constituency project. This constituency project was brought about by some realizations, you know, of some people that, and constitutional in that matter, that the Constitution preaches principles of federal character, and it should be evenly spread across everything. Now, where can you get this kind of representation? It's when you come to the National Assembly. Okay, each community is being represented in the House of Representatives, and each state is being represented, you know, by 3 senators. So they now said, okay, if we put some projects in these constituencies, now that means the whole country will be covered, you know, project-wise. So now they now said, let us allocate some monies, you know, and for these people to address their peculiarities again. That is another factor. Because me coming from Zamfara state will definitely have different needs from somebody coming from Bayelsa. Maybe the man from Bayelsa will be talking of, if we are talking of mode of transportation, he will be talking of boats, ferries, and so on, because it's largely water. Now me, I'll be talking of motorcycle, golf cars, and so on and so forth. That is just an example. If we are talking of hospitals, we are going to view it differently. The way he will think about his own hospital maybe has to be mobile or stuff like that. My own is I will be talking of how to build it because I have enormous land and everything. So they now said, okay, if we give these legislators some threshold and ask them to come up with projects that will address the peculiar needs of their people, then we'll be covering the whole country. Now, but somehow we had problems. And we must be very honest to ourselves. Some of us abused it. How? Now, you would see one constituency maybe is given 200 million, for instance, you know. Another legislator, because of some maybe advantages he has here and there, will get like 10 billion or something. And that is a problem too. Do you understand? But mark you, like I said, these monies are not given. So the only thing is you are given a threshold. Each constituency is given 200 million worth of project, and the various ministries will now furnish you with what they have in their distance. For example, water resources will tell you, okay, to build, to dig, drill a borehole, put an overhead tank with limited reticulation is going to cost you 10 million naira, for instance. To build a small clinic with 20 beds or something will cost you 25 million naira. To build 1 kilometer access road will cost you this amount of money. And each department and agency will give you what they specialize in doing. Now, you as a senator or a member of House of Representatives would now sit down and look at your 200 million and say, okay, I need 10 boreholes with limited reticulation. I need 5 hospitals. I need this, and that. You now articulate it. And now look at where do they reside. Okay, issues of water go to Ministry of Resources. And this. Now, the ministry will now advertise, and the federal government would now give them that money. Your own is you now say it will be sited in community A, B, C, and D in my own zone. Okay, and you now supervise and ensure that these things are done the way the ministry advertised them. This is what is called constituency project.
So the legislator does not get the money?
No, not 1 penny is released to National Assembly, talk less of a senator. Not 1 penny is released to National Assembly, no. The monies are released to the ministry or department or agency where you put that project in. Like me, I built several clinics, several water projects, several classrooms and furniture, so many things during my last 4 years. But I was never given 1 naira to go and execute it. So this is the problem. So I don't see why this thing will even cause any problem. So if the government says maybe we don't have money to do this one or that one, we sit down and look at it. If you cannot build my classrooms and everything, but you are ready to do my Funtua Gusau Road, for instance, what is my problem? I'm home and dry. I don't have any problem.
Needs the people have, various needs. And that brings us to the issue of empowerment being done by members of the legislature.
Yes.
Now, how badly are some of these facilities and projects, how badly are they needed in your constituencies, for instance, and how have you been able to reach out?
Now, these are the differences, like I said. Now, issues of constituency projects are being held by, executed by the government through the ministries, department, and agencies. But as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I earn salary, I have allowances and everything. Now, there is what our people call appreciation. You know, in whatever you do. Now, I am occupying this office and this chair courtesy of my people. And I cannot reach every member, you know, of my constituency. Like, for instance, I got over 200,000 votes. How do I relate to over 200,000 votes? I can only connect them by way of, you know, giving them projects and so on. And now the salary I'm earning, the allowance I'm getting, you know, is courtesy of these people that elected me. If they had not elected me, I wouldn't have earned it, for instance. So now, by way of saying thank you and appreciating them, now I know how hard the times can be, especially, you know, to somebody that is living in the rural community. And especially, like in my own case, you know, these people that are being hit by this menace of, you know, Noma and Boko Haram, you know, being killed every time, and a lot of people even not allowing them to go to their farms and so on. So I now say, okay, out of my salary, I will save so amount every month. Out of my allowance, I will save X amount, you know, every month, so that when the festivities come, especially because that is what our religion preaches and what do you call it, our culture. You know, there are times that everybody expects you to come and maybe help the poor and the needy, like during Ramadan, during the two Salah celebrations, you know, during some what do you call it, disasters and so on and so forth. So I save, and that is what a lot of legislators do. So over the time, you do it. So recently I did my own. If I'm sure it was covered by the NTA in Zamfara. You know, I bought food items and everything and I distributed during Ramadan. I do it every year. So I save from this one. This is my own money that I earn. And I do it as a way of saying thank you to the people and sharing with them what, you know, God gave me through the instrumentality of their votes. So this is the difference. And the other ones, in terms of constituency project, when I'm giving the money, I say this is, I look at the communities and say, what do you want? And
now, in terms of how are the people been receiving some of these things that
definitely when you
how
give
does it go?
Honestly speaking, they appreciate a lot. And it goes a long way in alleviating, you know, some of their sufferings and everything. They are very, very, I'm sure if you go back and look at the video, you know, your people were on ground in Zamfara, you know, to cover it, and you could see the smiles on their faces and so on and so forth. Our religion, our culture preaches that. And
do you have any special interest in women and the health of
women,
the
women especially forms, you know, over 75% of my followers. And especially youth, you know, and women. So In my constituency, they even tag me, nickname me Senator Mata, meaning Senator of the women and so on. So I have special interest in women. You know, in terms of empowerment, I always put them a little ahead in terms of helping them secure school admissions, employment, everything. I try to do it. You know, they are our mothers, they are our daughters, and God says we should take special care of them. Then comes the children, the needy, you know, and so on, the old, you know, and everything. So we always take care of them, and we try to show appreciation to our mothers because we know what they went through.
That's the size of the program this week. Do join us next week for another edition. On behalf of my producers, I am Shegun Ojelade saying bye-bye.